Hello, everybody. So what I'm doing today is I have a piece of paper where I was actually cleaning up in my printmaking class that I teach, and I take the brayer when it has black ink on it, and when it's got just a tiny bit of black ink left, I roll out an impression on a nice piece of paper. And then what I like to do is find a certain scene within this piece of paper. So I see this as being very atmospheric. It's foggy. So let's jump in. I'm going to try trees. This may work and it may not work at all. That's okay. As long as we're making art. Let's go ahead and find another one. So I live in North Carolina, which has a lot of beautiful forests and mountains. But I try to think about where this scene could be from. And to me, I think about the Pacific Northwest. I've been up there a few times on trips, and I like to go up there and hike. I love to go through the woods on a foggy morning. I feel very Bob Ross vibes right now, so every tree is different. Hey, I can actually see. I'm getting smarter about doing my lives. So some of you are joining. That's great. And I see somebody said the Pacific Northwest is awesome. Yes, it is. Maybe somebody can give me recommendations on where to go in the Pacific Northwest the next time I'm there. Especially somewhere where I could take a nice hike and see a bunch of trees in the fog. You know, I'm not too worried about details. I teach a lot of art classes to a lot of college students, And one of the things I tell them is that when you're making art, you shouldn't go to the details too quickly. You got to give it some time. You don't pick out the doorknobs when you're designing the house on the first day, right? The doorknobs come later. So what I'm trying to do is to find my overall structure. I got a line of trees here. All right, I'm seeing some recommendations come through. La Tourelle Falls would be perfect for that. Thank you, Clementine Creations. I was talking to some of my students this morning, and I told them I did my first TikTok Live yesterday. And I didn't really know what I was doing. Still don't. But I am completely convinced that social media can be a force for good. Because so many of you, I've sort of found a little bit of a niche here on TikTok, I think, in the art world. And one of the things that is encouraging to me is that so many, I think young people, I'm 50 by the way, so many young people make comments to me like, I wish you were my art teacher. And first of all, it makes me sad if they had a negative experience in an art class. I really don't think that's what art class should be. But getting back to social media, I do believe that, at least for me, I'd like to use my TikTok platform as a place just to encourage. The world needs art. It needs a lot of art. The world needs every type of artist. So if you're an art maker, you need to keep going. Sometimes your art you're on it and everything you're drawing or painting or sculpting is just right on. Sometimes it's not, and that's okay. I'm starting to see it in here, guys. I don't know if you are. Seeing my foggy morning. I'm going to keep pushing these darks. Let's find some more dark. And let's start to see some details in there. I want to find these trees a little bit more. Try not to shake this thing too much. So it kind of blew my mind. I was talking to my students about this whole idea of a TikTok live or making a live anything. And I said to my students, why in the world would anybody care or want to watch somebody else make art? And they said that they grew up in a time where everybody connected through social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. And they say that they told me, they said that they like to watch artists make art online. Guess it's something that I've never done. I think I'm always too busy making my art. Okay. Well, I hope if you've had a stressful day that you can relax a little bit. Let that stress move out. Maybe watching me make some trees. Maybe it makes your day a little less stressful. Or if you're already just kind of chill, maybe you can just chill some more. Let's make more trees. So this isn't typical of the type of art that I make. Oh, wait a minute, I've got a comment. It says, I make art while I watch lives. Feels like I'm doing and learning at the same time. I love it. I've got a good quote for you all, if you're out there. I wrote it on the whiteboard in my painting class. Today is the tomorrow that you were worried about yesterday. I love that quote. It just tells us to live in the moment. I like cross-hatching. So when I was young, when I was like in middle school, I guess, way back in the dark ages, my mother was an interior designer. And my mother would take me sometimes to her clients' homes. So these were fairly well-off people that had beautiful homes. And I don't know if this is as much of a thing anymore, but when you had a big fancy house back in the day, you had your coffee table art books, your monographs, as the experts call them. And so I would always sit, and I was a little thing, 6, 7, 8 years old, and I would look through these art books. And a lot of them were the Renaissance. They were Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Raphael, all the Ninja Turtles. And so I started taking little sketchbooks, and I would copy those Renaissance drawings. And I learned so much from those artists. They have so much to teach us. So I learned to crosshatch from Leonardo da Vinci. What a great teacher to do that. So I like the atmosphere that's starting to happen here. I dig it. I talk a lot about in my classes, I talk to my students about your sensitivity to line. I like to make sensitive lines. Maybe some little directions in here might be interesting. You know, I tell my students a lot, if you work, if you make too many lines this way, it can ruin your drawing. If you make too many lines this way, you got to find a nice balance between the two. Vary those lines, vary those directions. See, I'm listening to my own advice. Ready to put some dark in here too. Let's get dark. I want it to look like you could just walk forever. Kind of fun to think about all the little birds that would be living in these little trees. The other thing is I hope always find that when I watch someone make art, or when I go to a good art show, I always want to make art myself. Powerful stuff to see good work. Good work breeds good work. Now, don't get me wrong, I struggle. Sorry, I've gotten quiet. All right. I always tell my students to squint their eyes. If you squint your eyes and look at the screen, you might see some good trees in here. All right, let's sign it. I think I'm done. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll call that a night. Hope you enjoyed watching this little drawing. And I do appreciate you. And I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Let's take one last look at it. All right, good night, everybody. We'll see you soon.